Sanguinius always did wonder where those wings came from. They unfurl themselves from beneath my robes and burst from my back. If only I revealed the truth before he met his end at the eternity gate. Those black wings which I had inherited from my incarnation as the crow, and which I would entrust with the most benevolent of my children. It was no wonder that I drew the attention of Andaletta. I was one of her flock. Grandmother Crow watched over us all. Ember was my sister, and she had been sent as a lesson, that I would have an example of what the God Emperor of mankind needed to be. That war had been a lie. This love was not. It never would be. If it is any consolation, Guts, I never asked for them. I was not Griffith, and I had no intention of becoming like him. They are most unsettling. I evoke Mordenkainen's sword, and an entire plane of force is folded onto itself. The universe is reforged into a blade, and I reach for it, grasping it tightly in both of my hands. I could not use radiance as I was now, but that did not mean I was ever helpless. Normally, this spell could only be used sparingly as an attack. Instead, I would wield it as my weapon and eschew that tradition. It was nothing compared to Dragon Slayer, but it would suffice. At the very least, it would be able to withstand the temporal abolition the great sword was known for. I am not going to do this, Arlan. The white swordsman plants his blade into the ground. I can't. Uncharacteristically, that crusader of mine began to tremble. If he did not have the strength to do this, I have only delayed the inevitable, and I would fall victim to the succor of that nightmarish heart. If you do not, the heart of darkness will prevail. That smile I had, it could only belong to a father. I am going to die anyway, and I would have my story end at the hands of someone I love. I tilt my head. Why not, Guts? Why not? The white wolf practically roars. How could I be this selfish? Why not? The wolf had become frantic. There was an unease. This had to be a dream. This just had to be a nightmare. I thought it was over. What was over? The eclipse, but it never ended. It did, Guts. The white wolf had to know that this was how he would ascend. This was his apotheosis, and in turn, it would become mine. I brought an end to it. No. The white swordsman grips the hilt of Dragon Slayer, and the great sword ignites. I don't think it did. It did, I affirm. I promise. The tremors begin to stop. Guts Vorlesh looked at Arlan Vorlesh, and he realized that truth. There were only a few things that he was certain of in life, and one of them was that a promise had power. If anything could change the world, it had to be a promise. That is where it began. It is the grievous miracle, that promise made by my mother at the grave of Calum Vorlesh, and which I inherited from her. I smile at him. Which you will bear. This is an heirloom, Guts. It will remain when I am gone. I don't want this kind of inheritance, the white swordsman sobs. I don't want any of this, if this is what I have to do. The tears would flow freely. Oh, I think you will come to regard it with pride. There was a clarity. What exactly would come forth from this decision I made? It was laid bare before my eyes. The white wolf who would journey to Faerun. It will be the way back home. The hero who would slay the dead three and lay waste to Avernus. Zariel brought to heel, and in the distance, I saw a great tree, Yggdrasil. Remember this, 3 lives, 3 deaths, 3 sacrifices. The second life, death and sacrifice, was never resolved. When I had cast myself into the world wound, the idea of evil postponed it. This prophecy, fulfill it. The God Emperor of mankind needed to die. That was the only way he could be reborn. If you manage to do that, I promise that I will return. The God Emperor of mankind as he was always meant to be. The eye of terror would be closed. The warp would know of loss. I would begin my counterattack. I would bring order to the chaos. No waterworks, Guts. I assume a stance with Mordenkainen's sword. Time is of the essence. I hate you. The crusader prepares himself. I won't forgive you. He grits his teeth. Not for making me do this, Arlan. I know. There is something mischievous about my grin. I want you to use it. This feeling would be transformative. It would take that whelp I had met, and from him forge another grievous miracle. Those who watch can only be spectators. Their dice will be broken. This destiny our own.